kind of wanted to talk to you about it and get your side of that story.
I don't know anything about it. I mean...
Well, I just mean conversations y'all are having on the phone.
No.
Since he's been in here.
Like sexual?
I take it as that you've given him oral sex at some point, is what I gather from these calls.
No, that was like in the world. But we never dated.
Meet Charlene O'Banion, a prison officer accused of having an illicit relationship with an inmate, Jason Parker. Rumors circulated among fellow officers, prompting an investigation. Charlene believes she's gone unnoticed, but unbeknownst to her, detectives possess ample evidence and plan to expose her misconduct thoroughly. Initially, Charlene feigns innocence, pretending ignorance about the allegations.
We're notified of a possible improper relationship between you and Jacob Parker. So we're here for that, and I just kind of wanted to talk to you about it and get your side of that story.
Charlene attempts to downplay the situation.
You talked to him on any jail phone calls or anything like that?
She denies any such contact.
No.
None at all?
Despite Charlene's attempts to appear innocent and unaware of the allegations, the detectives have substantial evidence. Charlene initially attributes the allegations to an unrelated incident with an inmate named Justin Coker, which took place months ago.
And where would you think that this allegation would come from if there's nothing to it?
Well, I had a feeling this was coming. So there was an inmate named Coker, Justin Coker.
She asserts that her only interaction with Jason was near the jail bathroom, dismissing the allegations.
I guess one time Parker was going back to Pequot to use the bathroom.
However, the detective challenges Charlene's account by presenting phone call records between her and Parker, all of which are recorded. This revelation undermines Charlene's credibility, prompting the detective to diplomatically express doubts about her truthfulness. Charlene eventually admits to having spoken with Jason a few years ago, but insists that their interactions were nothing more than jokes. The reality is different. Law enforcement has recorded prison phone calls that tell a contradictory tale. The detective questions Charlene about the content of these phone conversations, specifying whether they involved sexual topics.
I just mean conversations y'all are having on the phone.
No.
Since he's been in here.
Like sexual?
Well, I'm not saying having phone sex, talking about sexual acts. From what I'm listening to on the calls, I take it as that you've given him oral sex at some point, is what I gather from these calls.
Charlene initially denies any sexual discussions but is confronted with the detective's interpretation of the calls. The detective believes the calls suggest that Charlene engaged in oral sex with Jason at some point. She insists this occurred outside of prison, but reiterates that they never dated. The detective inquiries about their conversations since she began working at the jail while he was an inmate, particularly conversations regarding life after his release. He also probes whether she has been talking to him from her home when he calls from the jail.
Have you been talking to him while you're at home? Like he calls you from the jail while you're at home, or? Okay.
At this point, just 15 minutes into the interrogation, Charlene's initial account appears increasingly disconnected from the truth. She has confessed to previous sexual involvement with Jason, acknowledged regular phone calls from her home, and made contradictory statements. These revelations raise significant concerns about her conduct as a prison officer, hinting at deeper issues. The detective proceeds with more questions, this time focusing on potential physical evidence. While Charlene claims to have given Jason photographs of his mother and dog, the detective inquires about any photographs of herself.
Have you given him any photographs?
I gave him a photograph of his mom, which she had asked for, and of his dog, Jax.
Okay.
He mentions the investigation will include reviewing security camera footage and scrutinizing instances when they were alone or out of camera view, looking for suspicious behavior. It's worth noting that Charlene's extensive experience working in the prison environment might have given her knowledge of security camera blind spots and patrol officer schedules. However, her disregard for the fact that prison phone calls are recorded shows a significant oversight. The interrogation takes an unsettling turn as the detective reminds Charlene of the recorded phone calls. He humorously speculates about her having a sex swing and playfully suggests scenarios, leading to a shocking revelation within the recorded calls that could potentially incriminate Charlene further. At this point in the interrogation, Charlene's credibility is dwindling rapidly. She's been caught in numerous lies, confessed to previous sexual involvement with Jason, and acknowledged their phone calls.
I don't know, you probably got this weird sex swing hanging from the ceiling. Kenneth probably thinks it's a swing set.
Oh, if I had that swing, you better believe I'd leave that sucker up for you.
Would you really?
Hell yeah!
However, the conversation takes an explicit turn as they discuss intimate details of their past encounters. Charlene's attempt to downplay her arousal and discuss the graphic nature of their relationship leaves the detectives questioning her inconsistent memory. Despite Charlene's persistent denial of any sexual activity within the prison, the detectives continue to press her about the specifics of their interactions. They point out the contradictions in her account and emphasize the importance of her honesty. Despite her attempts to evade the truth, Charlene eventually admits to giving Jason a blowjob within the prison.
Talk about how profound this was, like just giving him this was, but you like don't remember anything about it. It's like telling me something, but you're having trouble coming up with details about it. You know what I mean? Like if it's that profound.
I mean, I gave him. How do you describe blowjob?
The situation is complex because, in cases of officer-inmate relationships, consent is not the determining factor. Federal law categorically criminalizes all sexual interactions between prison staff and inmates, considering them abusive, regardless of consent. This stringent approach aims to prevent abuse in prisons, given the alarming rates of sexual assault suffered by inmates, with minimal consequences for the responsible officers. In Charlene's case, her confession would lead to the loss of her job and a 100-day sentence for engaging in sexual activity with a person in custody.